Jamie, crews are still working, and it is extremely cold out here. They say they have over a dozen tractor trailers that still need to be removed from the scene, and even a dozen cars.
Here in Salisbury Township, Lancaster County, where you can see some of the debris that is just caught along this fence right here. Some of it is just caught here, even inside the fence. You even have like a little piece of trash here, like a Mountain Dew can. It's stuck still in that fence. And you're referring to the barn collapse. Well, go ahead and take a look at it over there. That is a building right there that didn't really stand much of a chance, unfortunately, in the high winds and the heavy rain that came down in this area here. Steve Hoke's basement has always been his art studio. But lately, he's found a new pastime.
I needed something where I could get out and get some exercise. So I became a bit sedentary by doing things in the house here, so this was a perfect fit.
A gnome forest built in a Kansas park inspired Hoke's new hobby that became a passion.
My intention was to get kids and families out of their houses, away from the electronics, and to go for a walk for a couple hours a week.
So he got permission and began to build gnome homes at Little Buffalo State Park. They had a profound impact on hundreds of park visitors who would leave trinkets and notes behind.
One of the notes read, "Mr. Gnome, would you please help me, or would you please tell my mommy to come home because I miss her." The day I found it, I cried.
There were 38 gnome homes in all, 5 cottages. For the rest, Hoke built custom-fit doors for the holes in the trees.
To see the joy that these things brought to so many kids and families, it was difficult letting them go.
But the gnomes and their homes were given an eviction notice by Little Buffalo State Park. What happened next was unexpected. The park is now gnomeless, and yes, the gnomes are homeless, but not for long, because hey, gnome lives matter too.
I never had any idea it was going to morph into this.
Hoke's story went viral on the internet. There are now offers from several local and international parks to move the gnomes and their homes to their greener pastures.
It has certainly taken on a life of its own. I've gotten calls from around the world.
Hoke says the response he's gotten will only push him further toward his newfound passion.
They haven't lost that sense of mystery, that sense of enchantment, and that'll keep me going.
So that many people can enjoy Hoke's Gnome Sweet Homes. In Newport Perry County, Felix Rodriguez-Lima, Fox 43 News.
This Huey helicopter was flown during the Vietnam War. It has logged 1,300 combat hours. It even has battle scars. Bullet holes cover the sides of it.
That brings the real element of what these guys were dealing with when they were flying a helicopter in Vietnam.
To be here with this helicopter and know that I flew it and sit in the front with my son, you can't, there's no way I can tell you what it's like. It's impossible.
Russ Mowry was an Army aviation pilot in Vietnam.
10, 15 years ago, I wouldn't wear the hat. But now it's becoming a lot more important than it ever was with the camaraderie of the fellow veterans.
This year, Heritage Days are commemorating the Vietnam War. The Huey was specially brought in for the weekend.
The Huey was everything to the Vietnam vets. It brought them into battle, it brought them home, it brought them food, it brought them water, and took the wounded and dead home.
The Vietnam War is also part of this year's reenactments. It is not the only war being represented. Despite the rain, World War I reenactor John Heckman is wearing an original uniform.
It does very well. We have to think it's 100 years old. It was made for being in the field, and it does pretty well. I'm pretty warm other than being a little wet.
We're down in the trenches where things are pretty soggy. The weather hasn't kept people from coming out, and the reenactors say it actually makes things more realistic.
It's very comparable to what they actually went through, and it's a neat way to feel how they would have felt, and you're out here in the elements, and it's a good way to enjoy your time.
The rain forced Mowry inside where he is painting a new nose for his Huey. 48 years ago, Mowry painted the nose and now is recreating the mural. It will be added to the helicopter. The Liberty War Bird Association then wants to get it back in the sky to give people rides and veterans one more flight.
You can't explain to people who haven't experienced that really what it's like.
In Middlesex Township, Cumberland County, Leah Kierstein, Fox 43 News.
Jamie, it's been almost 2 weeks since Earl Schleek Pinckney was shot and killed by a Harrisburg police officer at a home here in Harrisburg on Green Street. Demonstrators once again taking to the streets this afternoon to voice their displeasure and calling for reforms within the Harrisburg Police Department.
Justice for me must.
By now, the calls by community activists to remove any potentially bad officers from the Harrisburg Police Department are familiar and honoring the memory of Earl Shalik Pinckney.
It's kids coming up to me saying, Shalik gave me $1, I miss him. Pot gave me $1, I missed him. People always tell me that they love him. Y'all can't say nothing bad about him.
Harrisburg Police and Kim Thomas have different accounts of the events leading to her son's death on August 8th, and there is concern that Pinckney's past will give investigators a free pass to justify the shooting.
They'll turn negativity that was done in his back pass to identify it was justice for them what was done. That's not justice.
And that's why friends and family are trying to get people to remember him for the positive impacts they say he made in their lives and the lives of others.
He changed his whole life around. He went from a boy to a man real quick. Had a baby, his whole life changed. And it took him from him that quick with a snap of a button.
They also called for a renewed sense of unity to drive out any fear residents may have.
Stop being scared. No one has to be scared in Harrisburg. We all have to stick together. We all have to get strong. We are a family, even if you think that we're not.
A memorial service is set for Pinckney on Monday. Tom is telling us that it's only able to happen through the generous support of anonymous donations, Jamie. Goldie Waltman says she thought of her daughter Patricia and prayed for her every day since she left her with that couple she was staying with 62 years ago. Now 85, she has an addition to her family she never thought she'd see again. Every story at the arrivals hall at Harrisburg Airport is different, but this one is remarkable.
Meeting my mom for the first time.
That's what Patricia Lorenz, who now lives in Alabama, did.
Oh, Patty.
Saw a mother she didn't know until now.
So nice to see you. Oh, it's so good to hold you again.
Goldie Waltman was single, unemployed, and pregnant in 1954 when she gave birth to Patricia.
So I gave her up. And it was the hardest thing I ever did in my life.
It remained a secret to Goldie's 5 other children until a doctor's appointment 5 years ago when he
asked her how many kids she had, and she said, I have 6. And my sister at that point said, no, you have 5. And she goes, no, I have 6. And that's how we found out.
Since then, the search had turned up empty.
We started to search for her, but unfortunately we were using the wrong name, wrong state, and we just didn't get anywhere.
Until 2 weeks ago, when decades of searching
47 years. Yeah, I started when I was like 16.
Finally reconnected mother and daughter.
She said, it's Patty. I said, oh.
Through messages on Ancestry.com and that phone call.
So I called her that same day and we talked and been talking since.
Goldie's children then flew Patricia up here to meet the family.
So I finally got to see her. Lord, it's been good. I didn't think this would ever happen. I don't know how to explain it. I've been excited about coming to meet her and see her for so long, and it's just like a reality come true, you know.
And now that they have reunited,
I didn't think I'd ever see you. I didn't think I'd ever see you again either.
There's a lot of catching up to do for this mother and daughter, finally seeing each other in the arrivals hall at the airport.
Finally. We still look alike. Yeah.
The family got back to McAllisterville, Juniata County, and they tell me they had a big dinner tonight.
Fox 43's photojournalist Jared Pearman takes us to the anti-violence rally that was held in hopes of inspiring change.
Violence! These things are happening and it needs to stop.
We are with York City Stop the Violence.
Stop what? Violence!
We're trying to get our community members involved, letting these people know that we're not going to tolerate this violence in our city, and we really want it to stop.
City!
There's a lot of people that I know that are losing their children to the street. It just has to stop. We're out here to march and let the city know that there is people out here that want to stop the violence and do something about it.
There was a total of 6 shootings that I could count that I've heard. It doesn't just affect me, it affects you. It affects everybody in the world.
The violence!
I've lost family members to violence, shootings, drug violence, different things like that, and it's not okay.
We want to be able to walk down the street without being afraid. We want to be able to live in our homes without being afraid that somebody's going to bash in the door and rob us at gunpoint.
Our city! The violence!
Every day there's a crime, every day there's a shooting. So we're hoping that more people come out and get involved and try to stop the violence. It can be done.
We're here to help influence that idea that violence is something that doesn't need to be an option in conflict resolution. We only have one life. Why give it up to something like that?